Haya, tunaendelea mbele. 2 Samuel chapter 11. We're just going to take the whole chapter, from verse 1 to verse 27. Once again, I need to remind you that this is a KJV version we are reading, so you can get yourself a copy and read along as we get to see what God is saying in these verses. This should be part 7 of this mini-series called the 7th Commandment. Okay, where we are covering its applications, do's and don'ts, etc. So welcome back as we proceed. The book of 2 Samuel chapter 11 verse 1 to 27. This is a story of David and Bathsheba, story of Uriah, story of Joab, etc. So let's read. And it came to pass, after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him, and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon, and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem. At the time when kings go forth to battle, this basically portrays the climatic conditions for battle. There's not much work needed for the fields, so there are plenty of men, and the weather is good for battle. That is what basically that means, right? So let's proceed. Verse 2. And it came to pass in an evening tide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. You need to see something here. Verse 1 says, David sent Joab and his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Rabbah, but David tarried still at Jerusalem. David here today decides to wait at Jerusalem. Why? What is this that is causing David to wait? Let's look at verse 2. And it came to pass in an evening tide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. That's a prayer you're going to make. For the men and for the women. And you see here, can you say David was taking a nap? Or was he resting? Or was he chilling? It does tell us something here. I want you to see something so you can know what to pray for. Okay? Here is David. At verse 1, a battle is won. So he is so blessed that he doesn't need to go and be part of that battle. So God has really blessed him to the next extent that he's in bed as battles are being won. Now, that itself is a prayer point. so that it's a prayer and a supplication to God for God to bless you to the next extent that you don't need to toil that much for you to win your battles. Here is David in the bed, already winning battles. It's like the billionaires of this time, today being 17th of March, the year 2025. We are calling them billionaires, the richest of the richest. As they sleep, they are making their money, or money is working for them, as it is written in various media outlets. Okay, so here you have a very very interesting case, and that's a prayer you're going to make, because may God continue to bless you to a point that you don't have to wake up to work that much, because everyone has to work either way, in one way or another. But it's a blessing that is roundabout, where you have rest. You don't need to worry about battles. Things will solve themselves. You understand? So that is the presence of God in the life of David up to that point. But how look at how David is so blessed. I want to emphasize on that part. Just imagine. Let me read it again for you. And it came to pass after the year was expired, at the time when kings go forth to battle. This time, the rest of the kings around the world are going to battle. And you could pick up a similar prayer from that point. Kings are going to battle. And then David decided to send Joab and his servants with him and all of Israel. And they destroy the children of Ammon and besiege Rabbah. So a battle is won, a city is taken over, and much more spoil is got. So there's an increase of wealth as David is tarrying in Jerusalem. And in the same evening tide, I would say, and it came to pass, as it is written in verse 2, it came to pass in an evening tide that David arose from off his bed. So he is in bed, winning battles, in bed, communing with, perhaps meditating, in bed. God is with him in bed. It's like it's like I watched something recently on the news, and a certain president won a battle, I would say, in their chamber of the parliament, and he took a stroll. We would call it a victory lap. So in the same particular manner, David knows that when you're jumping from verse 1 to verse 2, he knows that now he has won the battle of Rabbah. All the spoils are with him. And that's it. So he wakes up just to breathe the air and take a stroll. There's a balance here between verse 1 and verse 2, where God wants you to see something. Thank God that this event was written to its particular nature like this, so that you could see it and learn from it. Okay. So David has won the battles. I'm going to repeat this as many times as I can, because it's so important. Because there is a contrast here with the David winning battles and the David losing battles. There's a point, a turning point, a point of no return that is going to happen between verse 1 and verse 2. There's a space there. And that space is quite a lesson for this mini series that we're calling the Seventh Commandment. At one point, David has won the battle. Then he decides to take a stroll after winning. So he's in a winning streak. but then something happens. So the prayer for you all is, may God give you, may God bless you as much as like he had blessed David, to the point that you have to win your battles even when you're sleeping, to the point that you have to gain wealth even when you're sleeping. Okay? And may God sustain whatever you have, so that you don't lose it, as you remain between verse 1 and verse 2 of this chapter. Now see what happens, because when you need to be alert. Now, there's a famous quote that people quote it a lot: more money, more problems. You need to be very alert when you're super blessed, when you're super wealthy, the right way. Okay? Now I'm talking to believers, because those who have gotten wealth through demonic means, they have their own ways of paying for that. Terms and conditions of that section apply. They are taxed in a particular manner. Blood for blood. Okay. Now I'm talking to believers who have believed God and who have walked with God, who have fought with God, who have walked with God, and now they have gotten everything. You have learned the masses. You have a lot of money in their accounts. You have wealth. You have property. You have family. You have extended family. You have everything. You're like now Job in the first chapter or in the last chapter. That is the point that you need to be alert and increase your security, spiritual security, and be so alert so that you don't fall. Because now when we look at verse 2, the life of David will start going downwards because of a simple event that is between verse 1 and verse 2. So that's a prayer. I hope you all understand that prayer. Sustenance of wealth. I've seen great servants of God talk about that point of breakthrough, where the minute you're going to, I don't know what they call it, a delay, I don't know, an untimely, when you're about to win a race, then you lose it. That part. Some witchcraft involved in that part. But that's the whole point about this. So maintain your wealth. Be alert so that the devil does not sweep you. Okay? That's the lesson here. Now let's look at verse 2. See what happens to David. Let us see what happens to David. This man is very rich. But let us see. He's very powerful. But let us see. He's very courageous. He can kill lions. He has fought many battles. He has delivered Israel multiple times. But let us see about this other battle that is in the spirit. Let us see about this other battle that is in the spirit. Let us see about this other battle that is not fought physically. Let us see whether David will win this one. Because this one takes a great deal of effort to overcome. Now, verse 2. And it came to pass, time moves, in an evening tide, in the evening, that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. Period. Is a full stop. Now this is the descent. Another prayer. May you not encounter a strange woman. May you not, this is for the men, may you not be in a position to see this. May God protect your eyes and your mind. Applicable also to the women. Okay? Alright? To the women, be around your husbands all the time, so that when they wake up off the bed, they don't look at someone else except you. Okay? Now, to the woman who's being looked at, who's being very beautiful, this now is to the women also. Don't cause David to fall. Don't wash yourself in public. Don't publicize yourself. You are married, be private, keep your affairs private. Don't cause a king to fall. There are repercussions on his side. A whole nation depends on you. So don't do it. There will be a price to pay. And the scales will tip. So don't do it. So this one is a game for the men and for the women. It's been very clear how I am teaching you for this thing. David has a rose, David is walking, David is looking, David has seen. If there was no woman being suggestive, washing herself in public, wearing a suggestive outfit, David would not have looked. For the men, be courageous. Don't look. Don't walk outside in this manner. So turn your eyes aside. Then you will avoid this drama that we will see in the next chapter as well. Do you understand? Now, the lady tempts David. And you remember, again, I want to say on this part, I commend the communities who wear, I think they're called hijabs, and they cover as much as possible to deter men from falling. Because they themselves do not sin. And when I say hijab, I don't want, it's not like everyone must wear it. You have to wear decent, so you don't cause the men to fall. Okay? It's like that, it's like that. So let's proceed. Verse 3. And David sent and inquired after the woman. And one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah, the Hittite? A Hittite. The lady might have been related to Ahithophel. Unfinished business. So verse 3 states, And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? You know, the falling bit starts there. What does David do? David inquires. You want to know more. So David has fallen. By the time David is making the decision to inquire, David falls in the spirit. David has committed adultery with a lady in the heart. It has already happened, and no one in the entire kingdom except Nathan would know about this. Nathan, a prophet speaking the mind of God. So, in essence, it is now David who knows the truth in the entire earth, and God, the creator of everything, who will speak to him through his prophet Nathan. So David commits adultery just like that. David has committed adultery even before inquiry, but by deciding to inquire. It's like with your phone and you're browsing, maybe on TikTok, maybe on X, whichever social platform you use it, and then you come across an advert or a link to a site that is oriented towards pornography or prostitution or online dating, and you click. The minute you decide to hit that click, to follow that link, to inquire more, then you are falling. You have committed adultery, because now it is like a stream. You are given one hook and you pull. Rather, should I say, it's like the trick you do with the chicken and the maize seeds, and you put an array of seeds to the ground in a line. The chicken will come and eat the first seed, look for the second and eat it, they'll go to the third and eat it, go to the fourth and eat it, go to the fifth and eat it, like that. So you start pulling that string. Or it's like a rabbit hole theory, where you are now investigating. You become now an investigative journalist. You want to know more. And that's the thing. So at this point of verse 3, David has fallen, and that's it. So verse 3 now destroys the life of David completely. That's it, because he is the king. Do not anger the king. The king knows everything. So the king will use all his resources to get what the king wants. Now, what the king wants is to commit sin, and he will do it. The drive between the king and the sin, that is the thing we want to tackle. That spirit, that is the force behind David, overcoming David's reasoning. And that's the thing. That is the reason why this story was put it like this, and they wrote it exactly like this, so that you can see the exact moment David fell and broke the seventh commandment. Okay? So David has fallen. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Uriah, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers, verse 4, and David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. So now David uses intelligence to hide sin. A prayer that you need to do, because may God help you not to fall, both you women and men. May God expose your hidden, secretive sins early before they destroy you completely. Because now at verse 4, it just takes 4 verses to end David. And a part of him will lose the presence of God. just like that. He will not build a temple in future. He will lose things in future. He will lose things. He will lose children. He will lose because of that small decision that he made in verse 3. Okay? And David sent messages. Now he is now creating his sin. He is making it from spiritual to physical. When you go to that site, when you look at those women, when you hit the dial, when you make the call, when you make arrangements, my friends and I have made arrangements. When you make Uber arrangements, taxi arrangements for the lady to be brought in very quickly, hidden, and you tip the driver not to be seen. Come in the night when everyone is sleeping. Let's meet at a hotel. My wife will not be there. My husband will not be there. Let's meet far away in a city. So all manner. This is the most creative point of a man. That's the most creative point of a man. That's the most creative point of a man. How to sin. When the man is scheming to sin, it is the most strategic. If that level of strategy could be applied to running a country, no economy would fail. For a president or a king like David to do this thing, he will execute it very perfectly. Okay, in this time we have, I don't want to mention countries so they don't get offended, but there are hotspots of war, and you have covert operations or covert ops where hostages have been captured in said countries. You know them. In 2025, you know them. So hostages have been captured in there, and then there's covert ops, special forces, SWAT teams, who are, specially trained officers who have been taken to go and retrieve hostages delicately, because the situation is a matter of life and death. And the operation is executed with care, so that no life is lost. And the president sits at the table with military generals, and they carefully. The extracting team goes and takes the hostages and takes them back home safely. No one dies. That precision is the same precision as that which David here is executing. The process of removing Bathsheba from that other place she was showering and bringing her home to his chamber and taking her back. Without no one else knowing except the men who are doing it for him, because they are doing his bidding. They are orders from above. The precision at which a man does the sin is similar to that one of extracting hostages from a very delicate war scenario. Because when the spirit of lust comes and you want to execute it and you want to achieve the goal of adultery, the force behind it is so great that even the mighty David succumbs to it. Not really succumb, but folded to it. So that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the thing I am teaching about. That spirit, that force of lust. Because it has so many faces. But it's a spirit and it's there. And look at what it's making David do. A very stealth operation. And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned unto her house. It's like it was done in a day, immediately. The lady must have been very beautiful. Because the more the scientific paragraph you can draw here is a bar or a chart. The more the more beautiful the lady is, the more beautiful the lady is to the eye of the beholder, the stronger the force to sin. The lady made the king to sin, and the king fell for it. And that's it. So at verse 4, David has done it, has achieved, and has sent the lady away. Let's look at what happens in verse 5. And the woman conceived and sent and told David and said, I am with child. Child. The thing goes with phases. So you see, ultimately the whole operations leads to let me use the scientific term, copulation. That is the whole operation. It leads to that thing. And once it has been achieved, now it goes to phase 2, hiding. So hidden sin. So it is now morphing into hiding. So this is the next phase of King David's operation. The lady is pregnant. So 1 year has gone past the 9 months. So let's hide the thing. So let's see what David does. So this is an example to show you what happens when you fall and the processes that is involved and the stages of falling. I'm a child. The lady is pregnant. So let's hide the baby. Do we kill it? Do we hide it? Oh! Let's kill the husband. Because I'm the king, I can own anything. Says David. Verse 6. Drama. And David sent to Joab saying, send me Uriah. Sorry, I made a mistake. The prophet in this scenario is Nathan, because that's the name we have from 2 Samuel chapter 12, verse 1, Nathan. Joab was the messenger. Nathan was the prophet. Apologies for that. And David sent to Joab saying, sorry if you comment, that prophet is Nathan, not Joab. Apologies for that. Now let's see verse 6. And David, so the lady is pregnant. And David sent to Joab saying, send me Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah to David. Phase 2, hiding the sin. And when Uriah, so now the minute now David has fallen, he can no longer control himself. He has already parted a part of his soul with the lady and then created a child. So this is no longer David speaking, or this is now the spirit in him. And the God is no longer there in terms of degrees. See? So God is living. And when Uriah was come unto him, David reminded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. And David said to Uriah, look, verse 7, now he has ordered Uriah be brought. So to him, this is the man to be finished, so that he can cover the sin. So Uriah doesn't know. Dear women, be loyal to your husbands. And husbands, be alert in the spirit. Protect your family in the spirit. It was the job of Uriah make sure that the wife was not bathing outside and advertising everything to the world. It was the job of Uriah to work with God in that manner. This is why you see security does not involve physical means. No. Because the security of Uriah's household has been breached by the spirit. So Uriah has been summoned and he has no clue. Had Uriah been in the spirit, God would have talked to him. So now he's a victim. Okay? And when Uriah was come unto him, David demanded of him how Joab did, and how the people did, and how they were prospered. So he wants an update from Uriah. And David said to Uriah, Go down to thy house and wash thy feet. And Uriah departed out of the king's house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. So now he's being covetized. I wonder how the conversation looked between Uriah and the wife. Very sad. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. I wonder why. So Uriah, something tells Uriah not to go home. Verse 10, and when they had told David, saying, Uriah refused to go with the meat. He is still wondering what is happening, but he can sense it. And when they had told David, saying, Uriah went not down unto his house, David said unto Uriah, Comest thou not from thy journey? Why then didst thou not go down unto thine house? And Uriah said unto David, The ark, my God. Verse 10. It's like but Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lord, and went not down to his house. David here is like he wants Uriah to go home and sleep with the wife, so that the wife can say that the child belongs to Uriah. Have you seen what the thing does to a man? Verse 11, and Uriah said unto David, The ark and Israel and Judah abide in tents, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are encamped in the open fields. Shall I then go into mine house to eat and to drink and to lie with my wife? As thou livest and as thy soul liveth, I will not do this thing. So Uriah here, he decides to protect the ark, Israel, and his fellow soldiers. He does not take the route of going to celebrate with the wife, because the conditions are still vulnerable. It's a time of battle. Verse 12, and David said to Uriah, Tarry here today also, and tomorrow I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem that day and the morrow. And when David had called him, he did eat and drink before him, and he made him drunk. My God. And at even he went out to lie on his bed with the servants of his Lord, but went not down to his house. I think it would have been quite heartbroken if he had gone at home. Quite a loyal individual. But being fed in the physical, not in the spirit. This is what appears next. These are strategies that, and I'm trying to tell you that the strategies being employed here are quite interesting. They are high level. And David is executing them with utmost care. Look at what he does next. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. What a man. What a man. Taken someone else's wife and you're dallying with the husband. This is what the Spirit does. The Spirit that we are tackling today. And he wrote in the letter saying, set ye Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die. My prayer to all of you, I'm going to hold this book like this. I'm not advertising it, but don't mind the branding. So the Uriah has been given a letter. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. Look at it. David has written a letter, a death sentence, and it's been given to Uriah to hold and to run with it. So Uriah is holding his own death sentence by the hand and he does not know it. For God, serve God, seek God, seek the Holy Spirit, so he can tell you things like this. A whole military person, a whole person who can kill. So this man can fight in the physical proper. He's a valiant warrior, but in the spirit is a child. He doesn't know that whatever he's carrying is his demise in his hand. He doesn't know. Oh, he doesn't know, and he's running with it towards Joab. And the person who has given him has taken his wife. He doesn't know. This might be your story, and I pray for you, for God to remember you. Turn you to God. Turn towards God. Serve God. Have a relationship with God, so He can protect you both in the physical and in the spiritual. Oh, Uriah doesn't know that the person who is sending him has taken his wife, has already slept with the wife, has already given pregnancy to the wife. Now the person is giving him a letter, his suicide mission, but Uriah does not know. Uriah has been blinded by alcohol, by food, by money. Uriah can fight with a gun, but Uriah cannot fight in the spirit. Uriah is already dead in the spirit. Uriah is holding a gun, Uriah is holding a spear, but Uriah is already dead. Don't go to battles if you are already dead. Walk alive. Be alive with God. Walk with God. Walk with the Spirit of God, hand in hand. God would have told you, stop it, don't take the letter, go back. Take your wife and run. Don't go to that war, take your wife and run. God would have talked to the wife. Don't do it. Don't take a bath there, the king will watch. Hide, run. Don't do it, don't follow the king. This is a battle that is not in the physical. There is a war here being fought between David, Bathsheba, and Uriah. They are fighting a war they cannot see. But Joseph fought this war and won. But David lost it. Uriah lost it. Bathsheba lost it. So 3 people lost the war. And now Uriah is going to die. He doesn't know. And he wrote in the letter saying, set ye Uriah. He could have even opened the letter. And he wrote in the letter saying, set Uriah in from the forefront of the hottest battle and retire from him that he may be smitten and die. And it came to pass, when Joab observed in the city, that he assigned Uriah unto a place where he knew that valiant men were. And the men of the city went out and fought with Joab, and there fell some of the people of the servants of David. And Uriah the Hittite died also. Now Uriah is dead. Mission accomplished. But nothing that is done in this world is hidden in the face of God. Joab's message to David. Then Joab sent and told David all the things concerning the war, and charged the messenger, saying, when thou hast made an end of telling the matters of the war unto the king, and if so be that the king's wrath arise, and he say unto thee, wherefore approached ye so nigh unto the city when ye did fight? And knew ye not that they would shoot from the wall? Who smote Abimelech the son of Jerubbaal? And did not a woman cast a piece of millstone upon him from the wall, that he died in the Jebus in Thebes? Why went he nigh the wall? Then said thou, thy servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. So Joab knows that men have died, but he's giving strict instruction to this messenger to repeat the feedback, to remind David of the operation, because that is the most important news. Not how many men have died, but that particular one is dead. So that one will be used as a shield. So now even Uriah at his time of death is being used as a scapegoat. Oh, Uriah. The wife has left. Uriah has died. Now Uriah is a scapegoat. Verse 22. So the messenger went and came and shewed David all that Joab had sent him for. And the messenger said unto David, surely the men prevailed against us, and came out unto us into the field, and we were upon them even unto the entering of the gate. And the shooters shot from off the wall upon the servants, and some of the king's servants be dead, and the servant Uriah the Hittite is dead also. Listen very carefully. There are casualties in that war. David has started to lose them. David has started to lose the battles. Look at David's reply to Joab. Then David said unto the messenger, thus shalt thou say unto Joab, let not this thing be displeased thee, for the sword devoureth one as well as another. Make thy battle more strong against the city, and overthrow it, and encourage thou him. See how he is covering it up. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah her husband was dead, she mourned for her husband. Why was she mourning? It means David compelled the lady much more. A part of the lady still loved her husband, but the king, David used the authority of the king to make sure that it's getting on. So it is very dangerous when your leaders fall into sin. It is very dangerous when your kings fall into sin. It is quite dangerous. The repercussions are many. It affects the whole nation. That's why you're a leader. Don't fall into sin. And when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife. Oh, Uriah. And bare him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased the Lord. Because at all times God is watching. The thing that David had done displeased the Lord God. We'll end this part here because it is very grave, it is very lengthy. Now we'll have the encounter with the prophet Nathan. Now David will face God. Okay? And those are the lessons that we get from the story of David and Bathsheba. See you in the next part. Thank you for listening. May God help you to be strong and to overcome. Amen.